it's important to understand that what's happening in this process is the fulfillment of the very something that Dwight Eisenhower warned his nation, and the world basically, at the end of his time in his final address to his nation. And he said this: "In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist." Now, what's happening right now is, in fact, the complicity of our governments to allow this misplaced power to happen, this unwarranted influence to function. And an example of the institutionalization of that process under this new regime of the North American entity, following from the Security and Prosperity Partnership Agreement, is an agreement amongst the leaders about a year ago, the leaders of Canada, the United States, and Mexico. In our time, it was Harper this time, that there would be a competitiveness council, which would be comprised of 16 representatives from industry, finance, corporate world. And they have already been installed at the right hand of the governments in Canada, the United States, and Mexico, at the right hand of the leaders of our Prime Minister. And our Prime Minister, Harper, announced this with great pride of this wonderful thing of Canada, of course, being open for business, as a previous Prime Minister had talked about. This is unconstitutional. This is a structure they've imposed where we have representatives of industry coming in and delivering their agenda to our elected people and saying, this is what we want you to do for us, for our purposes, for our needs. Nobody's saying we can't have industry. Obviously, we have to have industry. But in a country, it's not industry who tells the elected people what to do. It's the citizens. Right now, they have installed corporate rule. The institutionalization of that structure is in place. That's why one of the first things a Canadian Action Party government and other small representatives from other parties would do is get rid of that competitiveness council. It's a necessity. Well, here are a number of practices that have to be taken into place immediately if we're going to stop this merger of Canada, the United States, and Mexico into a North American entity. As well as just eliminating that competitiveness council, getting rid of it. They have no business being there. It's unconstitutional totally. We have to eliminate, cancel all these working groups, stop what they're doing, stop them completely. Stop the participation with the bureaucracies of the three countries, which participation is specifically for this integration, harmonizing everything. That's got to stop. The other thing we have to do is take back, restore our sovereign power over defense. We have to bring our troops home from Afghanistan. Get out of there now. We have to use the Bank of Canada. The audacity for them have taking the Bank of Canada and using it to bail out failing banks in the United States is not what its purpose is. We have got to stop that. Don't let that happen. Of a new world order run by the corporate elite. And he's making that decision to move. He's expecting he's going to be the Prime Minister, obviously. And he's doing that because the leadership of the United States have already done the same thing. The President and some of their senators didn't go to Congress, just as it's not going to Parliament. They, too, have already signed on to unifying the United States with the European Union, integrating the responsibility of leadership and control and power. So you see, the integration process of North America is so far down the road that these leaders are so arrogant and full of their power of success and control of the corporate agenda that they're marching on. So it's serious. It's serious business, and it affects all of us. I want to leave you with a feeling of hope, however, because I'm aware of a number of activities that are happening in the United States, for instance, of citizen action, frontline, that are actually stopping some of that NAFTA superhighway. Good work being done. One of the major issues of citizens in the United States was a massive rollback and a stopping of a new law that that had to do with the immigration issue in the United States. Citizens banded together in massive resistance and they stopped it. The point is, citizens coming together sensibly, wisely, using common sense, trusting each other, can still function. We haven't got the right kind of activity happening in Canada to put pressure on our government in as effective way as is happening in the United States. But we have done before, and we can do again. And so the non-governmental organizations are important. But you have to understand, they are not the government, but they're still important for them to put pressure on the government as they have done in the past. But their pressure must be such that it demands all the things that I'm saying have to be. It can't call for a negotiation, renegotiation of NAFTA, negotiation of the integration of the United States, Canada, and Mexico. It has to say strongly, as representatives of organizations out there that purport to be representatives of the citizens, purport to be trying to take forward citizen sovereignty, that we want to be Canadian, period. We want to be Canadian. Thank you. Good luck. Good fighting. Good courage.